Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I have 3 replays for you in the Tier 9 Tech Tree German tank destroyer, the Waffenträger AUF PZ.4. In short, the mini waffle basically, or baby waffle as some people prefer to call it. And just before we run to gameplay, you can see the equipment I run on this tank. So I've got optics, camo net and gun rammer on this tank, and on the perks I've got born leader, rapid reload, 6th sense, steady aim, snapshot, situational awareness, camouflage expertise, silent driving and muffled shots. So the first replay then, I'm on Karelia, and I'm going to go to the usual location, which is down on the left hand side, covering the K sort of, don't even know what you can call it, I guess sort of the K line, or sort of the K line running into sort of the 8-9 line section. So this is sort of just basically covering off your heavy tanks that are going to be sort of contesting these corners. You can see our heavy tanks are sort of making a way to the middle, and they've not actually lit anything up yet. So I don't know if there's anything that's still sort of on its way approaching the opposite corner. But we're going to sit here and cover, and lo and behold, our first victim turns up, which is a Badger. So we're just going to try and see if we can potentially get a shot in, but it doesn't look like there's anything presenting itself at the moment. I think the Badger's sort of keeping well tucked in, but somehow we do manage to actually find a shot into the lower plate of that Badger. Now this is sort of a perfect spot for a tank destroyer, to be honest. However, you do have to be careful because some people obviously can blind fire this position. As it's a well-known spot for tank destroyers to sit up. The E75 is sort of trying to poke the left-hand side of these ridges here. We notice the Type 4 has poked out as well, so we're trying to squeeze a shot into the Type 4. The E75 does get taken out, so there's no more shots available on that guy. But this IS-4 has driven out into sort of the open, and the shot I actually get into his track managed to do some damage there, but luckily sort of with him trapped in place, our team managed to put some shots in, which means we pick up some track assist. We get another shot into the trap there, but unfortunately it doesn't track him in place. Type 4 looks like he's going to have a go now, so we're going to line up the shot into the flat side of the turret face there. Well, not turret face, but the hull, sort of the upper plate where you sort of, it angles off. But obviously when they poke, it sort of becomes sort of flat to you, which you can easily pay them a premium. That's the problem with sort of the Type 4s, Type 5s. Those flat areas, if you load up the premium, it's still going to go through. So we're just biding our time now. We're just waiting to see if anything's going to poke this corner. We're also keeping an eye on the rest of the map, just in case. We're looking at the top A1, B1 section there, which is another sort of brawl zone on this map. Thing with Karelia, it's either sort of it's a game of sort of winning the flanks basically. If you sort of win the, I mean, to be fair, sort of this side of the map I think is more preferable, because if you get the high ground up in K sort of 5 area, yeah, you know what I mean, sort of on the top there. Where that heavy tank is, sort of just to the right of that enemy heavy tank, is below the hill there. But if we're on top of the hill, you can kind of cover the other side somewhat, and you can also cover the base from there. But like I say, we're just keeping an eye on that side. We're keeping an eye on the numbers as well. We're 2 tanks down now, so I think I was going to move from this location, but then I was wondering if this TD was going to make another play. The Badger has now exposed a little bit of his lower plate, so I wasn't going to hesitate to get a shot in. We squeeze another in, pointing the gun down because we just sort of want him, don't want his target alarm going off. Try getting a kill shot in there, but unfortunately we just hit the trapped him in place. Luckily we pick up another little bit of track assist, gonna squeeze the kill shot in, but unfortunately we hit the track again. I think that shell may have just gone a little bit wide. I don't think there's much of an opportunity to squeeze in the shot. I think we hit the dead wreck there, so we kind of, unfortunately, the Badger's just, well hidden behind that dead wreck, which means we're not able to get the kill shot in. But that being said, I think we're going to make a move over to the other side now, and try and cover the A line, because it looks as though we have lost that contest there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of sit up with these other TDs and kind of play off the heavy tank that is sitting in the A5 section of the map, because then if anybody pushes that heavy tank, we can then cover. We can also potentially get shots on this medium tank that is now up on the hill there. Something else that we have to be careful of, because obviously if we get lit, then he's going to sort of cover us from that hill, and we're going to sort of get a little bit of pain from that medium tank. So I'm just sort of again weighing up the options. Unfortunately, heavy tank has been taken out. We weren't in a position where we could cover him off. I mean, the Waffle has got good mobility, but it's not a blistering pace, so it's not something where you can just sort of relocate really quickly. You can move, but just not quick enough to be able to get in a position where, like say, we can cover those tanks off. Has got fantastic camo, which is really good, so we can play that to our strengths. Corellia is quite a high foliage map, so that sort of basically means that we can use the camo even more effectively. With these trees in the way and bushes like that, when we're not going to get spotted very easily. And the Waffle is just super accurate. If I'm honest, it's probably one of my favourite tier 9 tank destroyers. Managed to take out the Badger there, and I'm surprised we did get lit. I'm not entirely sure what spotted us, but there is something actually managing to target us, so I don't know if the light tank is in this vicinity as well. It's the only thing I can think of that might be able to sort of spot us up. Then we see this medium. Could have been the PTA that actually spotted us. Then we get spotted again and targeted. Unfortunately, we're getting shot from that heavy tank that's on the hill, who I would imagine that might be the guy that was lighting us up. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but the light tank's a one shot. The heavy tank is basically a free shot to us, and we're just moving out of this area now because we don't want to stay and get hit anymore. The heavy tank appears to be moving into our friendly tank destroyer and artillery. Artillery is also getting shot by the medium tank. We're gonna sit here and try and get a shot into that heavy tank. Unfortunately, we bounced, but the heavy tank is now on a one shot. Can we get the shot on? Unfortunately, he does get a shot into us. The EBR manages to get a shot into us as well, who's also in the cap. Now the medium tank has come around, and at this point I'm just like, right, I need to just move away. I need to move away and get away from this medium tank. Not entirely sure what that medium tank is. It's the UDES. So we managed to track the UDES in place. Luckily, our friendly TD is also covering, from our, covering the rear. We do get trapped in place. We kind of pincered into a crossfire. Unfortunately, we're panicking and we snap the shot there, and the UDES manages to take us out, which is really annoying, quite frustrating, because kind of a bit unnecessary, and we do get capped out by the EBR, which is even more frustrating. So I don't really know what potentially we could have done to have won that game, if I'm honest. Maybe we could have relocated a little bit earlier. Maybe if we penned our shot on the MBT initially, we could have also turned the game around slightly. But it's what it is. We end up finishing that game top of the board, but obviously not taking the win. And now we move on to the second replay on steps here. Another nice open map, which hopefully we can sort of play our abilities to the best of them. Sort of play our strengths, play our camo. And we're going to move up to the left-hand side here. And I think essentially what I'm going to want to try and do is cover our light tanks that are going to be pushing up on the left here. Because we know on the other side, tanks are going to be crossing precisely where that Skoda T50 is. Tanks are going to be crossing that side there, so we could be in a position where we could get side shots there. You see tanks have already moved over really quickly. We get a lovely snapshot into that T100 there. You can see there's two T100s. It's two T100s or maybe one. Yeah, two T100s there. So, that's a real deadly menace. The fact they've got two really, really good tier 10 light tanks on their team means that we need to try and also take them out as quickly as possible. Trying to squeeze a shot into that KV4 KTTS there. We're aiming for the cupola because we know we can probably pen that. I say probably, unfortunately we don't. But it looks as though we could get a penning shot there as long as the shot hits. We're trying our best to get some damage into this KV4, but the gun is not playing ball, which is very surprising. Like I say, the gun usually manages to hit. I can't really explain what is going on here. We've had 3 shots that all appear to have missed. We do get a nice high roll there, 628 damage, which is definitely a high roll. I mean, this tank averages 560 a shot. So yeah, that was a real decent high roll. And about time actually, because like I say, we're missing 3 shots there that were aimed in. Very surprised on the waffle, because like I say, its accuracy is pretty decent. But never mind, we're going to move on, and we're going to basically close the gap from where we are into sort of, right down basically on the 9-0 line down sort of there, and hopefully push into their rear. However, we're just keeping an eye on any tanks that might decide to sort of go over the top here. You can see its E6 was moving over the top, might actually be able to squeeze a shot in here. But unfortunately he just disappears off of our gun sight there, and we aren't able to get a shot in. But now we can see 2 tanks at the back here. We've got a TD and a light tank sitting at the back. I would like to get a shot into one of them, or as a medium tank there. This Mutz, unfortunately, we'd slam a huge shot into him along with another one of our players, which puts him down to 1 shot. He gets taken out. Keeping an eye on this T100, we get a nice shot damaging his engine there, which is really good, because hopefully if he's burnt his repair kit, he'll be struggling to sort of get out of that situation really quick. His mobility is going to be sort of reduced quite heavily. Seeing if we could potentially squeeze a shot into that Skoda, and we do thread that through the eye of the needle there, picking up our first kill of the game. Now we're going to see if we can hopefully get a shot into that tank destroyer, which we do. But I've just noticed on the mini-map now that our base is looking vulnerable. We have got a medium tank and a heavy tank covering. But again, I want to be in a position where if these guys cross, like what this heavy tank or medium tank is doing here, I can potentially get shots. And there we go. Brilliant, brilliant example of why you don't drive out in the open in a VK 1001P. Or a Martian, or a Mouse, or any slow tank for that example, because you are going to get butchered. Looks like it's actually moved over to the train tracks, but the waffles at fantastic accuracy manages to get a shot into the cupola or the turret there of the waffle, taking them out. Now we see this enemy Ruthless that's doing exactly the same thing. It's doing these guys doing the right thing by going behind the train track, because you should be covered, but I think that VK is just a bit too tall to be able to get away with it. And you can see the Ruthless here. I'm just trying to see if I can potentially get a shot into the side of his turret. It's just poking slightly above the train track. It's just stopped there. I'm going to try and see if I can get a shot, and we do. He's trying to climb the train track there, but we put a shot in and it makes him think twice about crossing. Tried to see if we can squeeze a shot into cupola, but unfortunately it bounced. Bear in mind that the Ruthless turret is the old E4 turret, not the new E4 turret where it got buffed and had an armor buff. This is the old E4 turret, which you should be able to pen through its cheeks and cupola fairly easily, especially with premium. And we do there. We get a shot into the cupola. The Ruthless is now down to a 1 shot. He gets taken out by a friendly Ruthless. And that just leaves 1 tank left, who manages to blind fire us, which was quite impressive. I'll give him that. It's fairly impressive that he's managed to pull off that blind fire, even though it wasn't lit. But we're going to go and chase after him and exact our revenge. It's an FE215B. So we know we can sort of penetrate the hull pretty easy. I'm not really sure what this guy is doing. Seems to be just, yeah, not really operating effectively there. But we get some shots in, bringing our total damage actually to just over 6,000. And we pick up the win there, and we come top of the board with 2 kills, like I say, just over 6k damage, with just under 1,000 assists, and picking up the first class and the high caliber medal. And yeah, quite a nice game on steps there, mid-tier, which was, like I say, pretty decent effort. What we're going to do is move on to the third and final replay of the video. So here we are then, we are on Moravanka and it's Team Destruction, and yeah, again another really decent map where you can play the waffle to its strengths. Plenty of foliage, plenty of bushes you can sit around, and on this spawn I'm going to move up to the cover the 1 line basically. We will have obviously tanks contesting the brawl zone sort of in E2 section. Always happens, there's always heavy tanks that come that way. We notice there's a lot of tank destroyers in this game as well, something to bear in mind. We may well spot some, or we won't spot, but there may be some enemy tank destroyers spotted that will be sitting across our way, because if I was playing the other sport, I'd be kind of playing the exact same position but G1 as opposed to C or D1. So yeah, there may be some tank destroyers opposite us which we can get some shots into. There isn't a light tank though in this game. We've got 2 mediums and 4 heavies, so vision wise it's going to be a little bit tricky unless the heavy tanks push up quite aggressively. However, with the amount of TDs that are in this game, I wouldn't suspect they would last very long. I've noticed we've got a bat chat in play, but I think the bat chat has gone over to the field. The only other medium tank is this medium tank that was just sat next to us a little while ago. He's now pushing up, so I'm hoping that he might be able to get some view range out there, and hopefully we can get a target. And there we go, we can start seeing a few targets lined up on the ridge there, and we get a nice shot into the T28 Prot, again getting a real nice high roll, which is always handy. A good start to the game, and yeah, we're just going to sort of bide our time here. There you go, you can see the tank destroyer that I was talking about sitting across the way opposite us. Always happens, you always know there's going to be tank destroyers there. It's just whether or not we'll be able to get a shot on those tank destroyers or tank destroyer that's opposite us. I don't think it's probably going to be possible. It's probably going to be sort of hidden beneath a ridge. Yeah, you can see there he's just below our gun line. We're going to get up on the high ground. We're going to try and see if we can squeeze a shot into that Shashka, and we do. Again, getting a nice high roll there, which is really lucky. Now you can see that corner where that Valor was. He keeps poking, and I'm hoping he's going to come around. There we go, we get a shot in. Unfortunately, we get exposed though, and we get a shot from the other side. That's the one thing with this position, and you know, this is the problem I have with this side is the foliage isn't quite in front, and then artillery gets a blind. That makes me mad because you know that was just pure luck. Yeah. Consider I hadn't been lit for sort of more than 10 seconds ago. Yeah, that was quite lucky. But fair play to him. You know, he sort of took a chance and it paid off for him. I'm not bitter. But we're gonna move out that position now because obviously artillery chancing the blind fire. I don't want him to chance another one and kill us. Obviously, the problem with the waffle is it's a very lightly armoured tank destroyer. Which means artillery shots or HE shots are going to just penetrate you like a hot knife through butter, and you will feel pain. So we're going to sort of just move to a bit more of a safer position, I guess. And I was also saying that the trees where they were on that position where we're at, they're right on top of the ridge. They're not quite in front. So what I'm trying to get at is you can't quite use those trees to the best of your abilities. So again, taking that shot on that Valor was a risky play because obviously you're going to get spotted. So that is something to sort of bear in mind. Maybe just those trees aren't really going to be any good for you. We notice the Terran in the distance, and we're always going to take a shot on the Terran, because why wouldn't you? That's a very dangerous tank destroyer to still have alive in the game. So any opportunity where you can get shots into the Terran, I'm going to take it. And we can see this Tiger 2 that is unfortunately propping up this ridgeline. It wasn't even tracked, I don't think. We do get spotted there. We're in a little bit of cover. T92, unfortunately, bless him, takes out that Tiger 2. We get a little bit of spotted there. Unfortunately, just fixed his track before the shot landed, so we didn't get any track assist out of that, which is a little bit sad. But we're up to 3.3k damage. We're not done too bad here. We've had a couple of high rolls as well, which is nice. And we're coming back to the position where we're at. And we're going to see if we can potentially get any more shots on any tanks across the way. There's only this TD lit up. We saw that heavy tank was sort of floating around about there. Now we see this FE 4005. I was kind of hoping his turret would just be poking out a little bit so we could get a shot in. Doesn't seem to be the case. Now we see this heavy tank, that unskinned Valor across the way. We tried getting a shot into the side of his turret, but unfortunately just didn't quite connect and bounced off. Chance to shot there, but you know, that was a quick snap that was never going to work, which is a shame. We should have saved that shot, because we could have got a shot into the turret of that FE there if we just held a little longer. And didn't waste a shot on the Valor. Now we're going to see if we can squeeze a shot into the Terran. I would love to get another shot into this Terran, because we could potentially put that Terran down to a one shot, which will obviously be very beneficial to us. The game is quite steady at the moment, and map control wise we don't really, I mean, we kind of got this side a little bit. I wouldn't say we got this side one, but it seems to have gone very stale. Like, it's just kind of both teams have just said, no, we're not going to push anymore. We're just going to stay, and we're just going to stick it out and see what happens. And it doesn't seem to be any movement. But now the FE pops up, and for some unknown reason my shot just derped the ground. Trying to see if we can squeeze the slimmer shots in, and there we go. Weird how that happens, how you can see the majority of the turret but the shot derps the floor, and the tiniest of shots to get the kill shot seems to hit. Go figure, it makes no sense. But we do get a shot into the E4 as well, another dangerous tank. Again, keeping an eye on that Terran. Now the numbers are dwindling on our team now. We have 4 tanks down, so we kind of need to make things happen a little bit here. Need to try and whittle some of these tanks down. Now the bar has got brave and decided to push out into the open. And we see this heavy tank here. Again, we get lit, which is really frustrating. I'm not entirely sure what is lighting us up. I thought we would have been far back enough, but it seems to me that there's obviously a tank destroyer in front of us in these bushes, not shooting, but every time we shoot, obviously we lose our little bit of concealment for every time we shoot, and that tank destroyer is obviously lighting us up. So there's a tank destroyer playing very clever on the enemy team, acting as a light tank, which is the right play, the right thing to do. I've said it before, if you have tanks such as the Panzerjäger or the UDES or the Stritzfarm, you can play a light tank role effectively. T114 Bat is another TD which plays that light tank role really effectively. If you have the camouflage to do it, in games like this, you can actually end up being the spotter on your team, and actually you can end up getting some phenomenal assists if you play it clever and play it right. The Highlander is moving into the middle now. We get a shot into that Highlander, and again, with the good mobility of the Waffle, we can just get out there. And you notice we're always shooting with the gun facing the rear. Now, 2 reasons. One is obviously to get a good getaway when you do get lit, like you see there. I just sort of managed to just drive out there. The second is you have much better gun depression with your gun facing over the side or facing over the rear of the tank. You can see the front there, you've got that big engine deck, which actually decreases your gun depression to I think about 5 degrees. So that's not great. So if you keep your gun aimed out over the rear, over the sides, you can make a quick getaway and you can get that extra bit of gun depression, which obviously helps you out when you're trying to sort of shoot over ridges. So we've kind of brought the scores back a little bit. We get a shot into the Yahtzee there. I was half expecting to get lit because we weren't really sort of stuck in bushes. Going to try and see if we can squeeze another shot in now. We unfortunately didn't connect that shot, and we did get a shot in return for that from that heavy tank. Now this Yahtzee looks like he's going straight for our artillery. I kind of really want to get rid of this Yahtzee because I feel like we're going to be compromised here. The Yahtzee goes unlit, but I know the Yahtzee is going to get spotted at some point. But then the heavy tank at the back there gets lit, trying to see if I can potentially get a shot in, but now the Yahtzee is back up and I just don't have the gun depression. I'm trying to line up the shot. The gun depression is really killing me here. And there we go, squeeze the shot in. Luckily we have bushes in between us as well, so I don't get spotted there. Really wanted to take that Yahtzee out. So like I say, the position felt a little bit compromised there. And we're up to 6.3k damage and 3 kills. So we had a really good game out of this and it's very even. We are 1 tank ahead. Now we see this E4 and I'd love to see if I could potentially put a shot in. It's definitely a one shot. And I'm just trying to see if we can squeeze the shot in the turret. My god, that was the luckiest shot alive there. Yeah, get the shot into the E4 cupola, which I really wasn't expecting to hit, but we had to take the shot because if you miss the shots that you don't take, don't you? It's that old saying. Now we see this unskinned Valor making a move for our artillery, and he's out in the open, so we squeeze the shot in for our 4th kill there. No, our 5th kill, sorry. That brings our 5th kill. So yeah, we are 4 against 2 now, and the game is looking more and more in our favour. Looking at it, there's a tier 8 tank destroyer and tier 10 artillery left. So I'm not sure what a tier 8 TD is, but I think it's the lightly armoured one because I've loaded the HE. So I'm anticipating that we're either going to see the artillery first or the tank destroyer. I've got the HE loaded, so I can really slap once we get this TD or this artillery lit up. We know where they're going to be. They're going to be at the back here on the K line. Well, artillery certainly is. I'm not sure about TD. I'd imagine he's probably going to be in K1, K2. Because again, another favourable position for a TD to play is that position. And artillery, I imagine, would be at the back there as well. Kind of going a little bit gung-ho. I should probably be a bit more careful because, I'm only on 109 hit points. But at this point, I'm kind of thinking, I'm feeling confident. And when you feel confident, you kind of get a bit bullish, don't you? And you just sort of go in and think, yeah, it's fine. I'll get another shot in, and it'll be great. Sometimes this is the point where you do actually have to start, you do have to play a little bit careful because it's not in the bag yet, and the enemy team could turn this around. But with the other 2 TDs advancing, I am kind of feeling, again, I am feeling confident. I think, as soon as these guys get lit, I have every confidence that if I don't shut them down, the 2 tank destroyers behind me will shut them down, and if they don't, artillery should be able to shut it down. That's my thought process anyway. It looks like they don't appear. Oh, there's the TD, which was in K1, the usual suspect. Oh, and there's the artillery. So there we go. See, artillery's just absolutely slapped the SU-130, and the T-92 gets quickly followed by a nice HE shell from our FE-4005. Bringing on the victory there. So we picked up just under 2.5k damage with 5 kills. Fair play to the T-92 HMC artillery because he got just over 7k damage as well. That is pretty impressive, not going to lie. Scummy as well, but very impressive. And there we go. So yeah, we come top of the board there. Credit to artillery, put in a good shift there. And yeah, that is the baby waffle, guys. So definitely a keeper in my book. I mean, I have 3 marks it, and if you want to see that video, do like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be able to find it on the channel in somewhere in there. So yeah, that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. As always, I will catch you next time.